What's up, guys? This is Dino here, and today I'll be adding the next part to What If Naruto Was in Pokemon. This is like part 12, so already a lot of parts. I'm sorry that the story is going on so long. But I don't think that rushing it would help any better. So, there will be three more parts. I intend to finish both this story and the Dragon Clan story before part 15 is over. So, both the stories will have their season finales at part 15, and then we will see where we go from there. I definitely have some really interesting things planned for you guys, so I hope you stick around with the channel. And yeah, if everything goes well, tomorrow I have a really special video that I have planned for you guys. I'm sure that a lot of you would like to see it. I can't really tell what it is currently because I'm not sure that it will happen, but I'm trying my best. And as for the recap, yeah, in the last part there was the whole debacle with the Orochimaru and the Zygrade Core, which evolved into its core enforcer form, and Naruto and the Ninetales, along with the help of Minato and his friends, were able to defeat it. And Zabuza, who was the 8th gym leader at the time, decided to award free badges to everyone, much to Naruto's chagrin and Shikamaru's delight. And now we continue the story, finally leading into the Lumiose conference. After training for about a month at Mount Myoboku, Naruto and Jiraiya both arrived at the site of the Lumiose conference, which was in the outskirts of Lumiose city. They were not the first ones to arrive there, and quite frankly, they were the last because Jiraiya decided to stop by a bathhouse to do something. The first person, the first people to greet them there were Shikamaru and Choji. They both had won their 8 badges along with Naruto when Zabuza decided to give them the 8th badge. Shikamaru said that they arrived here 2 days before and were mostly touring around the food stalls because of Choji. He thought about getting some last minute training in, but it was just a bit of a drag, so he decided to skip on that, and so did Choji. Naruto said that he will be looking forward to meet them in the Kalos League, and they nodded before leaving. As Shikamaru and Choji were leaving, they encountered some weird looking people. Jiraiya noticed their head band ninja bands and recognized them as members of the Sand Village. He was surprised to see them here in Kalos because their village was located in the outskirts of the Kalos region, and rarely have they ever ventured into the main town. Naruto asked Jiraiya if they were any strong, and Jiraiya told him that they were. The three people standing in front of them were the children of the Kazekage himself, and the Kazekage, just like Minato, is the head of their village, so he should expect nothing less from them. Naruto's attention was drawn to the red-haired boy in particular. He was emitting some sort of bloodlust, which was affecting him, almost scaring him to a point. The blonde girl smiled at Shikamaru and told him that he has a funny hairstyle, which Shikamaru took as a bit of an offense. After that, they encountered another slimy looking character. This was familiar to them. This was Orochimaru. Naruto immediately went on his guard and tried to confront Orochimaru, but Jiraiya stopped him. He asked Orochimaru what he was doing here and how he was not under arrest right now. Orochimaru simply said that he collaborated with the police and gave them everything that they need to know about Team Flare, and that's why he has a clean sheet right now. And he is not planning on doing something nefarious, so they don't have to worry about it. Jiraiya tells Naruto not to worry about Orochimaru and focus on the tournament. He will be keeping an eye on him in case he decides to do something slimy. Then Naruto meets his friends from Professor Sycamore's lab, Callum, Serena, and Trevor. He asks them if they had completed their last-minute training that they were planning to do at the trainer school. and they told him that they truly believed that they had reached a new level, and Callum in particular was eager to battle Naruto in a Greninja versus Greninja showdown, and Naruto was more than happy to welcome it. After that, they met Zabuza and Haku. Haku, having won the 8 badges as well, had come to participate in the tournament, and he greeted Naruto and offered an apology for what happened with Orochimaru earlier. Naruto told him that it was not his fault, and he's glad that Haku is beginning to make his own decisions. And Zabuza thanked Naruto for his help. After that, Naruto met his old friend Korina. He was surprised to see her, but she reminded him that she had promised that she would watch him compete in the Lumiose conference. And you know this is the beginning of something something. Figure it out yourself. After that, Naruto met his first opponent, which was some random trainer named Clyde. Let's just call him Clyde, man. I don't. I'm just too lazy to come up with some interesting names. This would be the qualifier battle for the quarterfinals, as this time a very few number of trainers had managed to get the 8 badges. Clyde greeted Naruto and wished him the best of luck for the qualifying battles tomorrow. The next day, Naruto arrived at the preliminary, how do you spell it, man? Preliminary tournament stage, and waited for Clyde to show up. This would be a one-on-one battle, so it wouldn't take long. Naruto planned on using his Greninja just to make sure that he qualifies for the main league. However, minutes passed and Clyde was nowhere to be found. Everyone was surprised as to what was happening until someone else showed up in place of Clyde. Naruto recognized him as Kabuto, but his appearance was vastly different from what he remembered before. Kabuto said that Clyde had been rendered medically unfit to compete due to some circumstances, and immediately security tried to restrain him, but Naruto stopped them. The security replied by saying that the only people allowed to compete in the tournament are the ones who have the 8 badges. But Naruto told them that they were not capable enough of stopping Kabuto themselves. So just to let him battle Kabuto, and then they could arrest him. Kabuto Kabuto said that the only stipulation on which he will battle Naruto is that if Naruto loses, he will forfeit his place in the tournament. This is of course a lose-lose situation for Naruto, but he decides to accept this nonetheless. But simply asks Kabuto why is he so keen on battling him, and Kabuto replies by saying that Naruto took everything away from him. Him and his friends spoiled his plans, due to which he was exiled by his idol, his lord and savior Lord Orochimaru, and now this was the time to enact revenge on Naruto. And if he manages to defeat Naruto, maybe, just maybe, Lord Orochimaru will take him in once again, as he looks at the stand to see Orochimaru with his new pupil, and this enrages Kabuto. He sends out his Hydreigon, and Naruto sends out Greninja. The battle starts off with Hydreigon firing off a Dragon Pulse, and Greninja firing off a Water Pulse. The both attacks cancelled each other out. Greninja immediately created 3 Shadow Clones, and started to engage the Dark Dragon type. A Dark Pulse was followed up by Hydreigon, but Greninja and his clones were simply able to dodge it. They surrounded Hydreigon on all 4 sides. As Korina, watching in the stands, immediately realized what they were about to do. All 3 of them used the Flying Hidden Power to trap Hydreigon in the Tornado Cage. But however, Kabuto just started smiling maniacally. He asked Naruto if he really thinks that he has not progressed whatsoever from before, and just then, a familiar energy started to channel itself into Hydreigon. Naruto immediately realized what it was, and Jiraiya in the stands also did. They were both sent into a state of shock and horror as Senjutsu energy started to envelop Hydreigon. And soon enough, it was visible. Hydreigon has entered into a partial Sage mode, similar to what Greninja can do, and also Jiraiya's Sesame Toad. It immediately fires off a Senjutsu enhanced Dark Pulse, which takes out all 3 of Greninja's clones, and also hits Greninja, the real Greninja also, causing some massive damage. In response to this, Greninja also goes into his partial Sage mode, Trying to combat the powered up Hydreigon. Hydreigon fires off a Draco meteor attack, and Greninja immediately fires off his Rasen Shuriken to counter the meteors. The the combination attack is able to cut through most of the meteors and fire itself towards Hydreigon. Hydreigon once again uses the Dark Pulse to combat it, and this works. This goes on for a while, as both Pokemon seem to be even in their power. However, Greninja has the speed advantage, so Kabuto decides to risk it all to end this. Using the last of Senjutsu Chakra left in Hydreigon, he fires off a Dark Pulse and Dragon Pulse combination, which races off towards Greninja. This combination attack is too fast for the frog to dodge, and it hits it. But just then, Greninja pop vanishes in a puff of smoke, and then Kabuto realizes what was happening, but this was too little too late. The real Greninja jumped from behind Hydreigon, revealing it to be a shadow clone, and it fires off a Russian Shuriken at the exhausted Hydreigon. Not being able to keep up its Senjutsu Chakra, Hydreigon is badly damaged by the attack and is taken out, thus giving Naruto the victory in an epic battle. Kabuto immediately falls to his knees and starts to scream and yell in agony. He could not believe that this happened. He then looks as Orochimaru walks up onto the stage. Kabuto runs up to Orochimaru, hoping that his master would take him in once again. But just then, Orochimaru pushes Kabuto away and tells him that he's still the weak ass that he knew before, and Kabuto is absolutely worthless, and this just proved it. Kabuto is sent into a state of heartbreak, sorrow and sadness, and anger also. As he, as in one last attempt in his maddening state, he lunges forward at Orochimaru trying to attack him, and just then, a yellow Pokemon pins him down with the electric type attack. Sasuke walks up from behind Orochimaru, as says, "Perfect timing." Kabuto looks on in agony as the security pulls him away. Naruto stares at Sasuke and his Pokemon as they stare at him back, setting the stage for a future showdown. The next day, the tournament commences into its later stage, which will be the Super 16. Here, there will be 8 battles, and the winners of those battles will move on to the quarterfinals. Naruto looks on at the screen as the first battle announced is Temari versus Serena. Naruto recognizes Temari as the girl from the Sand Village and hopes that Serena has done enough training to combat her. The second battle is Gaara versus Trevor, and this immediately worries Naruto as he remembers the sheer amount of bloodlust that was emitting from Gaara, and he's worried that Trevor may be in huge danger in this battle. The third battle is Naruto versus Choji, and after noticing this, Naruto immediately rushes off to his training, not bothering to check what the rest of the battle had in store. Somewhere else, Sasuke and Orochimaru also observed the screen, and Sasuke said that he was not impressed by the opponent he was given. But Orochimaru tells him that this is just the trials and tribulations of becoming stronger, and he has to sit through it. But Sasuke leaves mid-sentence. The next day, everyone gathers for the first battle of the quarterfinals. First battle of the Super 16 League. This was Serena versus Temari. Temari immediately says that Serena should forfeit, and she is just a pretty girl with no skill, and she's surprised how she was able to win the badges required to compete in the league. Serena tells her to shut it and just get on with the battle, as she will make her eat her words. The battle begins as Temari sends out a weird-looking Pokemon. Serena starts off with Vaporeon. Naruto scans his Pokédex to find that this is Gliscor, Pokemon native to the Sinnoh region, and asks Jiraiya how the hell did Temari manage to get her hands on this one. Jiraiya simply tells him that the Sand Village is abundant in ground-type Pokemon, so it wouldn't come back as a surprise to him. The battle begins as Vaporeon fires off a water pulse at Gliscor. Gliscor immediately uses Thunder Fang to bite it down, thus neutralizing it. Jiraiya tells Naruto to look on carefully, as this is the advantage of having coverage moves in your arsenal. Gliscor then rushes at Vaporeon and bites it down with a Thunder Fang, causing some massive damage. However, Vaporeon is able to use Icy Wind to push back Gliscor, and this quadruple effective attack does major damage on Gliscor, almost bringing it to the brink of fainting. However, Temari is absolutely unfazed. She, sim- she simply orders a roost attack which heals most of Gliscor's HP, as Naruto yells out from the stands that that is absolutely unfair, and Jiraiya and Korina have to restrain him from doing something stupid. Gliscor then follows it up by a Rock Tomb, thus preventing Vaporeon from attacking and trapping her in her place. This is followed up by a powerful Earthquake attack which takes Vaporeon out, thus giving Temari the early lead. The next Pokemon that Temari sends out is her Altaria, and Callum immediately comments that she is planning to unleash her full power right from the start, as Temari is a really strong trainer, and having Altaria will be beneficial in fighting Gliscor mid-air. Altaria starts off with a Sing attack, which Gliscor is able to dodge, and it immediately rushes at Altaria using a Ice Fang attack. However, just as Gliscor closes in, Serena Mega evolves her Altaria into Mega Altaria, and it immediately unleashes a Hyper Voice attack, which is boosted by the Pixelate ability, and this takes Gliscor out, thus winning the battle. The next Pokemon that Temari sends out is an Unpheasant, and Callum is pretty confident that Altaria will be able to defeat the Unpheasant, but Jiraiya tells him not to be so sure about this, as by the looks of it, the Unpheasant is really well trained and will surprise a lot of people. Naruto is still a bit skeptical, asking Jiraiya if an Unpheasant can really beat a Mega Evolved Pokemon, and Jiraiya tells him to look on and observe. Once again, Altaria starts off with Hyper Voice, but Unpheasant simply flies above it, dodging it, showing showing its massive speed advantage over Altaria, and everyone is shocked to see how fast Unpheasant really was. Unpheasant then starts to charge up a Sky attack, and Altaria goes for a Draco Meteor. Callum says it's a wrap, as Unpheasant won't be able to tank the Draco Meteor, and just then to his shock, Unpheasant flies in a frightening speed amidst the Draco Meteors, dodging each and every one of them, and ramming into Altaria with the Sky attack. This causes some massive damage, but Altaria is able to push Unpheasant back with another Hyper Voice. But this time also, Unpheasant uses Steel Wing and cuts through the Hyper Voice, hitting Altaria head on. The Steel type attack does massive damage on the Dragon Fairy type, and Altaria resorts to using a flamethrower to just push Unpheasant back. Unpheasant once again is hit by the flamethrower but manages to evade most of the attack by flying away from it. It once again charges up a Sky attack, and this time Altaria flies into the air and starts to fly downwards and unleashing Draco Meteor at the same time. This After fighting this attack, Serena is pretty sure that Unpheasant won't be able to dodge a downward coming Draco Meteor, but once again to her shock, Unpheasant is able to dodge each and every one of the meteors, and once again hit Altaria with a Sky attack. This one was too much to take, and the Dragon type faints immediately. Naruto is really disheartened to see his friend lose this badly, and asks Callum if Altaria was her strongest Pokemon, and Callum simply smiles by saying that it was not. Although Altaria was the Pokemon in her team capable of Mega Evolving, her most strongest Pokemon was the Pokemon that was about to come out next, and this was her starter Pokemon, Delphox. Naruto scans Delphox in his Pokédex and realizes that this is the finally evolved form of the Fire type starter. Delphox starts Unpheasant starts the battle by once again charging up a Sky attack as it rushes toward Delphox. Serena orders Delphox to fire off a mystical fire attack, which it does, and once again Unpheasant shows off its impressive speed by dodging the attack. But Delphox controls the mystical fire as it comes up from behind Unpheasant, hitting it, and this shocks everyone. Callum simply says that Delphox is able to control the direction of the mystical fire attack, and thus it's almost impossible to dodge it. Delphox then uses Psychic attack to bind Unpheasant in one place and hit it with another mystical fire, which takes it out. The next Pokemon that the Temari's final Pokemon is Banette, and this worries everyone as Banette is a ghost type and will have the advantage over Delphox. However, Delphox is the faster one here and manages to hit Bennett with a Psyshock. The both trade shadow balls, and this long-range attacks continues for a while. Just at just as it starts to appear that Delphox might have the advantage here, Temari starts to laugh maniacally and says that and asks Serena if she really thought that she would even remotely stand a chance against her. And just then Bennett starts to glow, reacting to the Megastone in Temari's fan. And this Mega Ball hit into Mega Bennett. Mega Bennett fires off a Shadow Ball and Delphox counters with a Mystical Fire, both attacks cancelling each other out. But just as Delphox was about to go for another move, Bennett hits it with a Sucker Punch. It's a critical hit which takes Delphox out in one blow, thus giving Temari the victory. Serena falls to her knees, unable to believe what just had happened, and Callum and Trevor go to confront her. Naruto stares at shock at just how massive the power gap was between Temari and Serena. With her being declared the winner, the next battle is on stage. It's Trevor versus Gaara, and Naruto immediately tells Jiraiya that he's not so sure about this Gaara kid, as he looks really scary and terrifying, and just has something about him. And Jiraiya tells him that he's right. His aura is absolutely filled with bloodlust, and Trevor needs to be careful about battling him. Gaara starts off his battle with Crocodile, as the Unova ground type roars, immediately frightening everyone in the stands. Naruto senses the same bloodlust coming from his Pokemon as well, and asks Jiraiya what is up with that. Jiraiya simply tells him that Pokemon sometimes channel their trainer's emotion within them. Trevor scans a crocodile in his Pokédex and sends out Florges to battle it, due to Florges being a fairy type and having the type advantage here. Florges starts the battle with a Moonblast, which races towards Crocodile, but just then, a stream of sand erupts from near Crocodile, shielding it from the Moonblast. Everyone is confused as to what is happening. Naruto asks Jiraiya if this was an attack, but Jiraiya tells him that he knows of no such attacks which shields the user with sand. Everyone is surprised, but just then some amount of sand creeps up from underneath Florges and trapping it in its place. Crocodile then unleashes a Stone Edge attack, which takes Florges out in one blow. Everyone is surprised to what just happened, as Naruto yells at Trevor to withdraw from the battle. He has a bad feeling that this will not go well. However, Trevor tells Naruto not to worry, as he will definitely win this battle one way or the other. The next Pokemon he sends out is Machamp, and he orders Machamp to use a Cross Chop. Just as Machamp starts to race towards Crocodile, Crocodile unleashes an Earthquake attack. This attack takes Machamp out in one blow. Now everyone is surprised as to what is happening. Sure, Crocodile is powerful, but to take two Pokemon out in one blow consecutively, this is just out of this world. As Gaara simply smiles and tells everyone that this is Crocodile's Moxie ability, and and due to this ability, every time the user KOs another Pokemon, the attack grows by 1.5. However, due to his Crocodile being extra special, the attack grows by a multiplier of 2, and this absolutely shocks everybody, as Gaara starts to emit even more bloodlust into the stadium. Trevor is for 1 second shocked and contemplates withdrawing from the battle, but just then his Charizard lets itself out of his Pokeball. It looks at Trevor and as if to assure him that everything is fine and it will win this battle for him. Trevor acknowledges it, and immediately Charizard goes into its Mega form, Mega Charizard Y, and it unleashes the Drought ability onto the stadium. Charizard starts the battle with a flamethrower, and once again the sand emerges from underneath Crocodile, shielding it. This turns the sand into glass, and Charizard unleashes an air slash at the glass. However, once again the sand comes up from underneath Crocodile. Charizard tries a variety of long-range attacks to not only keep his distance from the dangerous Crocodile but also try and break through his sand barrier. He then unleashes a solar beam, which manages to put a dent in the barrier but is not able to break it. However, this gives Trevor some sort of hope, as if he continues to fire of powerful attacks at long range, it will eventually shatter the barrier and will give him a free hit in Crocodile. But what it does not notice is that a stream of sand is creeping up from behind underneath Charizard, and it eventually traps it in its place, pinning it down. And before Trevor and Charizard could realize what was happening, Crocodile unleashes a Stone Edge attack, which hits Charizard, once again taking it out in one blow. Crocodile had just defeated three of Trevor's Pokemon, all three of them with single hits. This did not make any sense at all. Everyone in the stadium was terrified of what was happening. Trevor ran up to Charizard and checked on it if it was okay, and just Gaara just stared at them, confused by what was happening. Why was he treating Charizard as if Charizard was his friend? It was just a tool for battle. He sent a stream of sand towards Trevor, possibly trying to attack him. But just then Callum and his Greninja leaped into the stadium, stopping the sand. Callum glared at Gaara and warned him to stay away from his friend, or else there will be some dire consequences. Gaara was confused by this whole ordeal. What did he mean by friend? What exactly is friendship? This was all alienating concept to him. But he warned Callum to stay away from him and not to get in his way, or he will pay with his life before walking away. That night Naruto stood in the stadium, unsure of what was happening. He just watched he just watched two of his friends getting absolutely annihilated, and tomorrow he will have his match. Sure, it was against Choji, who was also a friend, but this whole tournament thing, this just seems off. Something is not right about this. Something is not right about the kid with Orochimaru. Something is definitely not right about the Gaara guy. So what was it? He just could not put his head into the battle. Just then Korina showed up and asked Naruto what was wrong. Naruto told her everything that he was experiencing and asked her if he could really win this battle after seeing the level of competition ahead. And she told him that the moment that he managed to defeat a Lucario without even having a mecha of his own, that's when she realized that Naruto has the potential to do anything that he wants. And just this is just the beginning of something something. Once again, I won't get into the details, but if you know, you know. The next day, Naruto arrived at the stadium for his battle against Choji. He was a little bit nervous after seeing his friends get absolutely destroyed the previous day, but still, he had to do this. This was his dream after all. Choji greeted him. He was also a bit uneasy about the whole tournament thing after seeing the stuff that happened in the previous battle. However, despite that, just like Naruto, he was also ready to fight. The battle starts as Naruto starts off with his Tauros and Choji sends out his Donphan. The two powerhouses stare each other down, ready to fight and lay it all down here. Both trainers order a takedown attack, and Donphan and Tauros rush at each other, colliding head-on. There is a power struggle for a brief moment, but Tauros proves to be the one having more brute strength and pushes Donphan away. Donphan uses the momentum to hit the wall and rolls in with a rollout attack, hitting Tauros. However, Tauros is able to plant his feet and tank the attack, stopping Donphan in his tracks and sending it flying backwards. However, Donphan mid-air uncurls from the rollout and is able to once again use this momentum to crash downwards with an earthquake attack, causing massive damage to Tauros. Choji orders another rollout attack and Naruto orders a double edge, both attacks colliding, once again being locked in a struggle. But once again Tauros proves to be the much more powerful Pokemon, sending Donphan crashing backwards and knocking it out for good. The second Pokemon that Choji sends out is his Butterfree, and Butterfree immediately dives forward, dodging a Rock Tomb attack from Tauros. It then follows it up by a Stun Spore attack, which paralyzes Tauros. Naruto realizes that with Tauros' speed advantage gone, it can do little against the airborne Butterfree, so he recalls it and sends out his own butterfly Pokemon, Vivillon. They both start off with a Bug Buzz attack, cancelling each other out. Then they trade Hurricane attacks. This goes on for a while, as both seem to be even in speed and in special attack. However, Butterfree is the more experienced here and manages to hit Vivillon with a stun spore attack, paralyzing it. This is enough to tip the scale in Butterfree's favor, as it unleashes another Hurricane attack, with the paralyzed Vivillon unable to dodge, and it gets knocked out. Sorry. Naruto's final Pokemon is his Krogan, and he knows that because Tauros is paralyzed and won't do anything against Butterfree, Toxicroak has to knock Butterfree out, one way or the other. Butterfree leads off with a Hurricane attack, which would be super effective on a fighting type. However, Toxicroak uses a Thunder Punch to blast through Butterfree's Hurricane attack. Butterfree once again tries to go for a Stun Spore, but Toxicroak leaps forward and dodges it before connecting with a gunk shot from a distance. This catches Butterfree off guard and is enough to knock it out for good. This is followed up by a Thunder Punch for an added measure as Butterfree is falling down, ensuring Toxicroak's victory. Choji's final Pokemon is a Snorlax, and Snorlax immediately dodges a gunk shot from Toxicroak, surprising everyone with its speed. It then leaps into the air and goes for a body slam, which Toxicroak barely dodges and gets behind Snorlax. From behind, it unleashes a barrage of gunk shot attacks, each and every one of them hitting. It is then followed up by a Drain Punch, healing some of Toxicroak's HP. And just as it appeared that Naruto was about to win this battle, Choji orders Snorlax to go for rest, which heals lot of its HP. Once again, Toxicroak goes for a barrage of gunk shots, but Choji orders a Sleep Talk attack, and in its sleep, Snorlax leaps into the air with a frightening speed and crushes the off-guard Toxicroak with a body slam, knocking it out. And just like that, it appears that Choji has the clear upper hand. Naruto sends out his Tauros, which is still paralyzed, and will be unable to do anything against the Snorlax, or so does it appears. Snorlax orders a body slam, but Tauros is unable to dodge it because of being paralyzed. Naruto tells Tauros to somehow catch Snorlax and throw it away, and this is a daunting task considering Snorlax's heavy weight. However, Tauros is able to do it, as he catches Snorlax coming in and pushes it away, and follows it up by a close combat attack, that being super effective on Snorlax. Snorlax wakes up, and Choji orders it to charge up a Hyper Beam attack, which it fires at Tauros, and Tauros once again uses a double edge to charge into the Hyper Beam. This is an odd struggle with the both powerful normal type moves colliding against each other, but Taurus's will and its strength proves to be too much, as it blasts through the Hyper Beam and hits Snorlax straight in the face, knocking it out for good, and giving Naruto the victory. Choji congratulates Naruto and says to him that there is no hard feelings for this battle, as he's sure that he will be able to become a stronger trainer after this. Sorry about my dog. I don't know why he's doing that, so please bear with me. That night at the Pokemon Center, Naruto is celebrating his victory with Korina and Jiraiya. All of a sudden, they hear some really disappointing news. A trainer and his Pokemon both were inflicted by some massive burns and had to be transferred into the ICU section of the Pokemon hospital. When further inquiring, they said that this was the doing of the Uchiha kid, Sasuke, who was apparently Orochimaru's new student, and Naruto once again feels the same uneasiness, the same bloodlust that he felt from Gaara, and that he felt from Sasuke after staring him down previously. Later, all the qualifying trainers assemble at the stadium to find out their quarter-final matchups. The first matchup to get announced is Naruto versus Konkuro of the Sand Village, and Naruto is more than willing to get some payback for his friends. The second matchup is Shikamaru versus Temari. As Shikamaru stares at Temari, who winks at him, making him feel weird. The third match is between Callum and Gaara, and Callum immediately yells at Gaara that he will make him pay for what he did to Trevor, and Gaara just simply stares at him. And the final match to be announced is Sasuke versus Haku. The both trainers staring each other down, ready for their confrontation. And guys, that's where I'll be ending this part. This was a long one, so my apologies. Sorry for the dog barking. I will try to make him go quiet next time. So yeah, and uh, the video that I was talking about, that was the podcast with Ronin. So that's already uploaded. So thank you for watching.